All right, ready for notes and geometry here. 6.2, properties of parallelograms. And this reads, a quadrilateral, which is four sides, with two pairs of parallel sides, which means the left and right are parallel, and the top and bottom are parallel. That would be called a parallelogram. To write the name of a parallelogram, use the symbol, and it's that symbol right there. I'm going to get the rest of the screen up. There we go. Here's parallelogram A, B, C, D, four letters. Notice the top and the bottom have those arrows. That means they're parallel. And the left and the right also have those single arrows, and they're parallel. And these double L's down here, looks like an 11 almost. That's also the symbol for parallel when you write it out. Well, we got some theorems. The next slide, first theorem. This one reads, if a quadrilateral is a parallelogram, then its opposite sides are congruent. So not only are they parallel, but they're also congruent. So I could put a tick mark on the left and right and a double tick mark on the top and bottom. So opposite sides are not only parallel, again, they are also congruent. More theorems. 6.2.2. If a quadrilateral is a parallelogram, then opposite angles are congruent. In other words, angle A is congruent to angle C. Opposite meaning they're directly diagonal or across from each other. Also, angle B and angle D are congruent. The middle theorem, 6.2.3, reads, if a quadrilateral is a parallelogram, then its consecutive angles are supplementary. We haven't seen that word for a while. Remember, that means they add up to 180. In other words, angle A and angle B are consecutive, so they add up to 180. And you can kind of keep going around. B and C are consecutive, like if you go around it clockwise, I guess. C and D add up to 180, and then D and A. So the fourth one here, the very bottom one. Last theorem reads, if a quadrilateral is a parallelogram, then its diagonals bisect each other. Well, a diagonal would be from A to C, so I can put a tick mark there and there. They bisect. Bisect means it cuts it in half. And I can keep going with my tick marks, put a double tick mark there and a double tick mark there. So, what do we know about parallelograms? We know opposite sides are parallel. We know opposite sides are congruent. We know opposite angles are congruent. We know consecutive angles are supplementary. And we know the diagonals bisect each other. With that said, let's work out a problem here. This one reads, in parallelogram CDEF, DE is 74. Let's fill that in. DE is 74. Let's label this. DG, 31. 31 is right there. And the measure of FCD, so this angle right here, is 42 degrees. Find the measure of CF. In other words, from C to F. How far would that be? Well, remember that in a parallelogram, opposite sides are congruent. So if my top is 74, the bottom would also be 74. So I would not need to use the 31 or 42. That's just extra information. So again, my answer is 74. Top 74, bottom of 74. Next slide. In parallelogram KLMN, LM is 28. Let's label this. L to M is 28, so that's the very top. L to N is 26, so that's that diagonal. 26 is that diagonal. And the measure of angle LKN, let's find that. L to K to N is 74. Find KN. So KN looks like it would be the very bottom. So K to N, and that would be the same as the very top. So if the top is 28, the bottom would be 28 as well. Next slide. In parallelogram CDEF, DE is 74. Again, let's label these. DG 31. We've had these numbers before. And FCD is 42 degrees. Find the measure of EFC. So find this angle, EFC. Well, the only measure I know is this 42. So angle F and angle C are consecutive. So they add up to 180. So what I must do here is take 180 and subtract the 42. And that would be 138. So angle F would be 138. Now, let me teach you something else here, or remind you of something. That means that angle D is 138. But angle E over here would be 42. Next slide. The only pieces I need are this 74, because I'm asked to find this angle measure. Let's label LKN. LKN is 74. That's the angle down here in the lower right-hand corner. I'm asked to find LML. So this angle up here. Well, your choices are they congruent or are they supplementary? And since they're opposites or they're diagonal from each other, the measure of angle M in the top left is congruent to the measure of angle K. That means if angle K, since it's 74, M would be the same. M would be the same. So in this problem, I would not have to subtract from 180. They're not consecutive. Let's keep going. In this problem, I'm asked to find the measure of DF. Well, I know that, I'll circle this one, DG, from D to G is 31. That means that from D to F is also 31, because remember the theorem that your diagonals bisect each other. So that would mean D to G is 31 plus 31, or 62. Again, on these problems, they're giving you extra information. Let's do another one. Let's look at what we have to find first. Find the distance from L to O. L to O, well, I know that this piece, L to N, which is my entire diagonal, is 26. L to O is half of it. So what's half of 26? And that would be 13. And that would be my answer. From L to O is 13. It's half the 26. All right, 3 more. Now we get into some algebra. It says in this next problem, WXYZ, it's sounds like a radio station, is a parallelogram. Find YZ. Find YZ. Well, it looks like YZ has a length of 8a minus 4. And I know that that would equal the top, 6a plus 10, because the top and the bottom are opposites, and in a parallelogram they're equal. So let's solve this. If I subtract 6a and add 4, that gives me 2a is 14, 4a is 7. Just have to use our algebra skills and solve these. But that's not my answer. I need to plug that in to find YZ. So it's going to be 8 times the 7 minus the 4, or 56 minus 4, which is 52. $52 would be my answer. The next one, some more algebra. We have a parallelogram. We're asked to find JG. So J to G would be this W plus 8. And it would equal the 3W because the diagonals bisect each other. So my equation would be 3W equals W plus 8. And if I subtract W from each side, that means that 2W is 8, or W is 4. And don't forget, that's 4 is not your answer. Plug it into W plus 8, which would be 4 plus 8, and 12 would be the answer I want. Don't forget to plug your variable back in. Now we're ready for the last one. We have WXYZ is a parallelogram. Find the measure of angle Z. Let's go find it. Angle Z is 9b plus 2. Let's write that down. 9b plus 2. And the only other angle measure I have is angle W. Don't set these equal to each other. They are not equal. They are supplementary. So I have to do this. Put a plus sign. 18b minus 11 equals 180. They are not equal to each other. They add together to equal 180. Now let's solve this. Collect like terms. 9b and 18b, that's 27b. And then 2 and 11 add up to 13. That's 180. Subtract 13 from each side. That gives me 27b is 167. I don't know if that divides evenly or not. 167 divided by 27. Whoops. I see my mistake. Let me back up here. Sorry about this. Problem is that sign right there is a minus sign. Notice it's a minus sign. So when I collect like terms, it's 27b and it's 2 minus 11, so it's minus 9 equals 180. And then I would add 9 to both sides. Sorry about this. So 27b is 189. So let's divide that, see if that comes out evenly. 189 divided by 27 is 7. So b equals 7, but I can't stop there. I got to plug it into my angle Z. So take the 9b plus 2, plug in my 7. 9 times 7 plus 2, that's 63, plus 2 is 65, and that would be degrees. Angle measure 65. All right, so that's lesson 6.2. Thank you for watching.